G'day guys, this is Tia and welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Now I think I've made a little bit of a discovery. I've got a bit of a gimmick build coming out in the future where I'll be mainly using radiation orientated perks. Anyways, in crafting this gimmick build and using the perks, me and my mate Shadow made a little discovery and decided to conduct some tests. And that discovery is an incredibly potent healing method. And while it is incredibly potent, I don't think it can rival Quantum's with the Cola Nut perk equipped. But in saying that, it does come pretty damn close. In fact, I think because of the way it functions, it actually might outperform certain colas on a technicality when you stack them together, which is kinda crazy. And then if you combine this method I'm about to show you with the colas, then it can be incredibly hard to kill someone using this method properly. And this information being put out into the world is going to potentially alter some of the PvP metas in this game for better or for worse. Because if you thought colas were bad on their own, then, like I said, this will make it way worse. Also, keep in mind that while this is a cancerous discovery for PvP, it's an amazing discovery for PvE, as you can turn yourself into an absolutely unstoppable monster against all enemies in the game. Anyways, with all that being said, be sure to stick around till the end of the video if you want to know the in-depth functionality of why and how this works. If you don't want to stick around, I'll have all you need to know being stated in an easy to understand way as well. Let's get into it. Okay, so what we will be using consists of 4 key factors. Number 1 is the Ghoulish perk. Number 2 is an easy way to reduce your radiation, via either a competent team with the Rad Sponge perk shared, or Nuka-Cola grapes. Then number 3 is having absolutely zero radiation resistance. Yes, you heard that correct. You must have 0 radiation resistance to your character. And then finally, number 4 is a way to induce a large amount of radiation onto yourself, like from a gamma gun, glowing blood, or most effectively, and what we will be diving into in this video, toxic goo. If you have all of this, you will have just created probably the ultimate codependent healing system in this game. Think of it as 2 radiation medics that are keeping each other alive. Basically, if you have a stockpile of Nuka grapes or maybe Radaway, then you can easily use this healing method on your own, but it's much more effective when you have a team running Rad Sponge for obvious reasons. Basically, this will not work effectively without either a partner or a full team running the Rad Sponge perk. But anyways, this is just a healing concept that could be taken and applied to almost any build, be that PvP or PvE. Also, it could probably be improved upon in ways I haven't thought of yet, so keep that in mind. Anyways, the way it works from start to finish and the reasons you need those 4 key factors are as follows. The perk Ghoulish heals you by a percentage of whatever the amount of radiation you're receiving is. Rank 1 heals you by 50%, Rank 2 by 100%, and Rank 3 by 150%. Now what this means is that the higher the amount of rad damage you take is going to actually heal you by a lot more. For example, toxic goo, which is this single most radiation dealing consumable in the game that I'm aware of. Toxic goo gives you 125 rads when you consume it in your inventory. So basically, max rank of Ghoulish will take that 125 rad damage and heal you by a factor of 150% in an instant, which is incredibly powerful and potent. And the main reason this is so powerful is because Ghoulish doesn't heal you over time like Stimpaks or Colas, it's an instant heal. As you can see right here, I will go from effectively, basically 0 health, I think I had around 5 HP in this clip, all the way up to max health in an instant heal, which is pretty insane. Now, the main part of actually making the toxic goo heal you so much is this. You need to have absolutely 0 radiation resistance on your character. So that means no Rad-X, no Rad Shield, you can't have the legendary perk card called What Rads, no radiation defensive perks, no power armor, and no secret service armor. The second you put any radiation resistance into your character, you will reduce the amount of rads you gain from the toxic goo, or whatever you've chosen to make this work, and in turn, this will actually heal you less. And just to show how big the difference is, I will show you here, again, me healing myself with toxic goo while I have 0 radiation resistance. And then to compare, I will simply put on my secret service armor, and the radiation resistance from that armor will basically halve the healing effectiveness of the toxic goo and Ghoulish. Now that may raise a few questions, like what the heck are you going to do about all this radiation that is slowly eating away at your health bar? Well, that's where your teammates and the Rad Sponge perk come into play. Or if you are alone and you've got the means, then that's when the Nuka Grapes come into play. See, if your teammates are doing any activity that involves them taking radiation damage, be that them drinking colas themselves or toxic goo themselves, then they will be removing that radiation from your health bar via the Rad Sponge perk card. Now this would be working at its best if there is one person on the team that can share the max rank of the perk card, or maybe two people sharing it so that the original person sharing it can also benefit. So in doing this, then theoretically the whole team could be healing themselves with colas and toxic goo at the same exact time and be gaining radiation damage, which will then proc Rad Sponge on the whole team to then heal everyone's radiation. It may take some finesse and cooperation to turn it into a viable strategy, but hey, I'm just presenting the information for all of you because theoretically it can be done, and done very well. Now like I said at the start of the video, this is not better than colas. Whilst it is an insta-heal for almost all of your health, sadly nothing can outmatch the overtime heal effect from a quantum with the Cola Nut perk. It's just too ridiculously strong. This is because with toxic goo you still have to be actively hitting that button to spam your toxic goo. Otherwise those little moments in between your pops of toxic goo are easy windows and moments in time when your enemy could kill you. To put it simply, in a fight, you should treat it like a Jacob's revolver from Borderlands 2. It only heals you as fast as you can pull the trigger, and in between trigger pulls, it does pretty much nothing. Ergo, as long as you are constantly consuming toxic goo, you're constantly healing, but in between those few button presses, you've got no health regen. Now this is why, to maximize this all as much as possible, I think you should use this toxic goo healing method in unison with colas, specifically the Nuka Cola grapes. Now the grapes are amazing for this combo, because with the Cola Nut perk, on a single Nuka Cola grape it will remove 1200 radiation, which is incredibly powerful. In addition, it also heals you. So basically, to maximize your survivability, you should do everything I stated in this video, meaning somehow find a way to fit Ghoulish into your build, find a way for someone to share Rad Sponge, and ensure that you have 0 radiation resistance on your character. And then take all of that, tack all of it into your already existing PvP build, because having a way to have a proper, potent insta-heal of this magnitude is nothing to pass up. I can already picture it now. The true tryhards of PvP will be spamming quantums at the start of a fight, and then they will be spamming toxic goo, and then some Nuka grapes on top of that just for that little extra bit of survivability and sustain. Because, you know, as if the self-healing in PvP wasn't already broken enough. And if you still aren't convinced, then look at it this way. In taking just the Ghoulish perk, you'll be healing yourself from the radiation from all of your colas on top of the cola's already insane healing abilities. So if a quantum gives you 30 rads for example, then those 30 rads will heal you by a factor of 150%. As well, on top of that already insane heal over time effect. And again, you can still gain massive insta-heals via the toxic goo itself. So basically that's it guys. I haven't seen anyone using this healing method in PvP, I haven't seen anyone really talking about it. Maybe I've missed something and someone has already talked about it and discovered it and deemed it to be inferior to colas and not exactly worth it. I don't know, but in my opinion this is not something that most of you should be passing up. You should at least give it a go and explore some options here if you're a sweaty PvP player. So a quick recap for all of you. Basically, to make this work effectively, you'll need absolutely 0 radiation resistance, you'll need the Ghoulish perk maxed out, you'll need a ton of toxic goo to be used as a healing item, you'll need either Nuka grapes to get rid of the radiation yourself during a fight if you are alone, or you can do that in a combo with your team with Rad Sponge equipped and shared throughout the team. So yeah, that's it guys. This is just something me and my mate Shadow kind of theory crafted while I was building a dumb little radiation gimmick build, which will be out soon by the way if you're interested. But yeah, aside from that, I would also like to give a huge shout out to Vampire Lord for getting the actual PvP footage in the background that has been playing throughout this video. He's been using this method and it's been working pretty well for him, as you can clearly see by the footage. So yeah, also a massive shout out to all of my current Patreons. Thank you all so much for your continued support on the channel. If you'd like to have your name at the end of each video and some other cool bonuses, be sure to check that out and look at my Patreon in the description below. along with my other social medias. And be sure to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed. I've been Tyr, and I'll catch us in the next one. Welcome to Valhalla.